شبابا قد أنابا وإلى الله استجابا إن من يرجو الثواب لا يبالي بالصعاب.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, everybody. It's been a minute, I'm not gonna lie. How long has it been?
For me, it's been like at least a month.
Nah, no way, not a month. You were here with us?
Yeah, Egypt too.
Nah, but you were here.
2 weeks since I've been.
You were with us for like
Oh, a little bit in Egypt, yeah, a little bit in Egypt. Yeah.
I think it's been like 2 weeks. You know why? Because I had the rihla thing, and then like we missed 1 week because something else. Yeah, muhim. Anyways, so who can give me a quick recap, right? Each person, if they want to recap something.
That's a good question.
No recap?
What we talked about last time.
Huh?
Forgot what we talked about. Okay. It's been too long.
That's it. Okay. We spoke about the rule. There's like 4 different like grammar rules.
What?
Actually, I don't even know.
Yo, what do you mean grammar rules? What are you talking about, gang?
Wait, I actually don't know.
That might be the wrong class.
I don't remember.
Yo, wallah might be the wrong class, gang.
It might be the wrong class.
Wallah, it's the wrong class. We're not even doing grammar.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys remember,
Yeah, no, what we did last time.
okay, I'll tell you guys. So remember, we're doing a book called Mukhtasar Al-Akhdari. Look, from now on, we gotta stay consistent because I feel like when we do it, like we forget. Like if we keep.
I do remember not to like speak ill or like say something to another Muslim that I shouldn't say.
Yeah, no, I'm hip. We just gotta like do a class every week, like and not like. Unfortunately, just like we had circumstances where we had to take a couple breaks, but if we keep it consistent, I think we'll be fine. It's just because like if when it's like so long, like you start to forget, especially if you guys don't write anything or take notes or anything. So we're doing a book called Mukhtasar Al-Akhdari, right? Mukhtasar Al-Akhdari. This is actually a fiqh book. Like the whole point is we're learning fiqh. However, the author has an introduction in like tazkiyah, adab, aqidah, right? Some stuff to deal with that. Like a small introduction. It's like 3 pages before we get into the fiqh part. So inshallah we should finish that today. Because bro, like the things that the author mentions here in his book, like they're like very deep. Like you can like write a book on each topic he speaks about, but we're just gonna try to like go very quickly through it because our main focus in this is what? What's our main focus for this book? Like the main thing that we're trying to get out of it.
Like
This is one of the worship of Allah.
Yeah, fiqh. We're trying to get fiqh out of it. That's the main thing, right? So okay, so we stopped last time at ويأمر بالمعروف وينهى عن المنكر. We talked a lot about that, right? Enjoining good, forbidding evil, conditions, etc., etc. So today, inshallah, we're basically gonna do starting from ويحرم عليه الكذب until inshallah the end, like of the introductory period. So
Call from Feed Wireless Call.
yeah, so go down. Yeah, right there. ويحرم عليه الكذب. Yeah, right there. Alright, so who wants to read for us first? Well, like I said, we'll take turns, right? So each person reads something.
Where is it?
ويحرم عليه الكذب, right there. Yeah.
I just don't see it, bro. Oh, I see this.
Yeah, that's ويحرم عليه الكذب.
Oh, Kadibu. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Let's go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
alright. فيحرم عليه كذب وقد
عليه الكذب.
عليه الكذب والغيبات
نميمة
والنميمة والكبر والعجوب والرياء والسمعة والحسد والبغض ورؤية الفضل على الغير والهمزة واللمز
والهمز واللمز والعبث والسخرية.
واللمز والعبث والسخرية.
That's good. That's good for now. So he started first with وَيَحْرُمُ عَلَيْهِ الْكَذِبُ. What's the rough translation of that?
Like, it's unlawful, like, it's not allowed to, like, it's not good to lie, slander.
Yeah, so first the lie part, right? وَيَحْرُمُ عَلَيْهِ الْكَذِبُ. So he said it is haram to lie. So lying is considered one of the major sins. Do you guys know how to tell the difference between the major sin and the minor sin?
Yeah.
How do I tell the difference between the major sin and the minor sin?
How can I tell the difference between a major and minor sin?
Yeah, like, you guys know what makes something a major sin or not?
If it's mentioned in the Quran or Hadith.
I mean, if it's not mentioned in the Quran, Hadith, where else would you get it from?
No.
Bro, isn't it just, bro, it has to do with, I feel like it's like just a straight up answer.
Yeah, it is.
It's given. It's just given.
How is it given? Like, it's saying in the Quran, this is a major sin?
Based off, like, how they convert it to, like, punishment and how, like, how Allah treats it.
Okay, close. Yeah.
How Allah treats each sin.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, like, He describes each sin as a certain punishment. I forget. I don't know. Like, obviously, I don't know.
Now you're close. So basically, a major sin is basically what, like, if the action is mentioned with something that relates to when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that action in the Quran or Sunnah or whatever, and it's accompanied with either Allah's anger or His curse, or it has like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it's gonna have a punishment in like the dunya and the hereafter, or the hereafter, right? Then that's considered major sin, right? So for example, lying. Why is lying considered a major sin? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, فَنَجْعَلْ لَعْنَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَى الْكَاذِبِينَ. Right? Allah curses the liars, basically. So that's an example of a major sin. Does that make sense? Why it's considered a major sin?
Repeat it? Yes.
Huh?
Repeat one more time.
What?
I don't fully like that.
No,
just like
the whole thing?
Just the part where you had to describe, how do I identify what's a major and minor?
So the way you identify whether something is a major sin or not is basically if when the action is mentioned, right, with it comes like Allah's promise of His anger or His curse, or like a punishment either in the dunya or the akhirah, one of those.
Yeah.
So for example, lying, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions lying in the Quran, He says فَنَجْعَلْ لَعْنَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَى الْكَاذِبِينَ. We basically we make Allah's curse on the liars, right? So you see, we have the action lying, it's accompanied with a promise of Allah's curse, so therefore it's considered a major sin.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and also lying is considered one of the signs of hypocrisy, right? As you guys know, the hadith of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, where he says, like, the sign of a hypocrite is 3. Any of you guys know this hadith or heard of it?
I heard something like that, yeah.
There's 3. I've definitely heard of it, especially.
Yeah, Jason, if you want to bring it up on the screen, search signs of a hypocrite is 3. Ayatul munafiqi thalath. Yeah.
Oh, the one that doesn't, like, uphold his promise?
Yeah, that hadith, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not to do with, like, signs of trust as well.
What is the 3?
He lies, he breaks a promise, and he betrays when he is trusted.
You see, so those 3 are the signs of a hypocrite, right? And one of them is lying. Okay, so we said lying is haram, right?
Yeah.
So
There's exceptions.
there's exceptions. What do you guys think are some of the exceptions?
Hiding sin.
Is there your wife.
Your life is that danger.
Yes.
But we don't gotta worry about that.
Yeah, so there's haram, lying majority of the time is haram, but there are some exceptions. For example, it can be obligatory. Let's say, for example, let's say we're like,
If you're like on like a gunpoint or something, you gotta like.
yeah, right, or let's say, for example, like someone's chasing Ayub, and like let's say we're all outside, and then like Ayub's like running, he hides somewhere, and then like this guy asks us, have you seen Ayub? What are we gonna slime him out, or are we gonna like try to throw him off?
I'm just gonna throw him out, to be honest.
Huh?
I'm joking. Nah, we're gonna throw him off, bro.
Right, but that's considered lying. Like it is lying, because what lying is lying is basically saying something that's not true. And included in lying, by the way, is saying something that you're not sure. Let's say someone tells you, oh, I'm not sure about this and this, but this may have happened, and you go around saying it as if it's a fact. That's considered lying as well.
Yeah.
So in that case, lying is obligatory, because if we don't lie, Ayub's gonna get slimed out.
Yeah.
Right? So it can be obligatory. It can also be haram, like we said, majority of the time, but it can also be mustahab, right? For example, let's say I'm friends with both Ayub and Jason. Let's say like Ayub, he'd be like talking like crazy about Jason, for example, right? He'd just be like talking crazy about him.
Damn, is this true, you?
Yeah, it is.
So let's say, for example, Jason like Jason's asking like, oh, what does Ayub think about me or something, like, or somehow it comes up. I'm telling him, yo, like Ayub generally like does not like you, and he called you this and this and that and that. That's not good. That's actually an amima. We're gonna talk about it, but it's recommended to lie at that point. Like say, yo, Ayub thinks you're the GOAT. Feel me? Like to what's it called? To
bring each other closer.
Yeah, and strengthen the relation between the Muslims.
Yeah.
Right? Or for example, let's say you're married, which none of us are, right? But let's say you're married. And let's say like, whatever, your wife, let's say it's not her day, for example. She's not looking that good. And she's like, yo, she's like,
How do I look?
she's like, how do I look? What do you guys, are you good, like, bro, let's say like, let's say it's not her day. Like, better then, let's say it's not her day. Are you gonna tell her like, yo, you look chopped. Like, get on my face. Are you gonna say that? No. Right? That like, bro, like that's gonna like ruin the relationship. So in this case, you're allowed to lie. It's better to lie. You say, nah, like you look beautiful, this, that, right? So that's just an example of like some specific cases. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What's the next thing he mentioned after lying?
Slander.
Slander.
Okay, sales.
Actually, before that, I want to mention this, like, because people sometimes ask like, what's the source? What's the deed? Whatever. The deed. Whatever. The asl of this lying, like in specific cases, comes from the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, where he says, ليس الكذاب الذي يصلح بين الناس فيمني خيرا أو يقول خيرا. And also another hadith of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ where he says, لا يحل الكذب إلا في ثلاث يحدث الرجل امرأته ليرضيها والكذب في الحرب والكذب ليصلح بين الناس. So there's a hadith that mentions the Prophet Muhammad said, like the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he said that lying is not allowed except in 3 cases. And obviously, like bina'an, building off of these 3 cases, you can like put the same ruling on cases similar to it. But the ones that are explicitly mentioned in the hadith are 3. He says like the man to his wife, right, to like make her feel good or whatever, right? Because we gave the example. Yeah. Or like lying in war, right, bro? It's like war. Feel me? And then lying to like bring 2 people together, right? ليصلح بين الناس, like to bring them together. What's a better, like يصلح بين الناس, to like, I forgot the English word for it. يصلح بين الناس.
You're trying to say two people are
They soften each other's hearts.
You know, soften each other, like
Whatever, yeah, bring them together basically, right? Bring them together.
When 2 people don't,
Make them good to each other, etc., etc. Like, you guys get the idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like where we get that from. Okay, what's the second thing he mentions after lying?
Slander.
Slander. And what is the Arabic word for that?
What?
too?
Al-Ghiba. It's known as Al-Ghiba. And Al-Ghiba is basically هو ذكرك أخاك بما يكره بشيء في نفسه أو ما. So it's basically saying something, right, about a person that he wouldn't like. Right? He's not there, but you're saying it. You're saying something that he wouldn't like, even if it's true. Even if it's true. Like, let's say, for example, what's a good example of this? You guys get the point. I don't think this needs an example, right? Saying something about someone when he's not there that he wouldn't like, even if it's true. Whether it's about him, his family, like anything. Some scholars, I'm pretty sure, you guys can know, like, even about like his cattle or his animal or something, like his horse, for example. Like, let's say I say that guy's, like, Ayyub's horse is funny looking. Like, that would be considered. Are you guys sure this is slandering? The ghiba is backbiting, usually translate as backbiting. Oh, they translate as... Yeah, muhim. Ghiba is basically backbiting. Ghiba is backbiting. However, so we said backbiting is haram, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys think there's exceptions?
Yep.
Yes.
What do you guys think are some exceptions?
If he's a public sinner,
Yeah?
you warn against him.
Exposing his sins, but only in that specific sin, not in whatever else he's doing. Only in that specific sin that he's exposing. What else? What else do you guys think?
Stopping it, like stopping evil, like stopping evil from like how do I say it? Like how is someone who has like the power to stop?
That's another one. Yep. Exactly.
So,
like going to the police or something and saying like this dude is doing this and this. Yeah.
He's about to do this. Yeah. If he's almost about spreading like false information, you're warning. You can warn others.
Like innovations, like he's bringing stuff into the deen that's like not there. Like he's just saying like.
Yeah. He's just living whatever he is.
Like Chan, good. So some scholars they like organized it into like, because the scholars a lot of times they do this. They like made it into a poem format. So basically, he says here, والذم ليس بغيبة في ستة متظلم ومعرف ومحذر ولمظهر فسق ومستفت ومن طلب الإعانة في إزالة منكر. مهم. Just for, what does that mean? Right, so it's 6. So the scholars mentioned 6, right? 6. You guys have already mentioned 2 of them. 6 situations where, like, it's not considered backbiting, even if you do it, right? Because we said backbiting is saying something about a person when he's not there that he's not gonna like. So in this situation, even if he doesn't like it or whatever, right? It doesn't count because it has a greater benefit to it. The first one is like Ayyub said, like something's about to happen, something's bad happened, someone's doing something, and I'm going like to the police or someone authority, and I'm telling them, look, X, Y, and Z did this and that. Okay?
Yeah.
Right? But for example, let's say if I go to someone that doesn't have authority and I tell them what that person does, then that's considered backbiting. Why? Because that person can't do anything about it. So there is no benefit to it. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's the first one. The second one is like this has to do mostly with like hadith. Like some of this has to do with hadith, or like for example like taking knowledge from a specific person. It has to do with jarh and ta'deel. This is a field that's used in hadith. Like, so in hadith sciences, right? Like you guys know how there's like a chain of people, right?
Yeah.
So like in hadith sciences, there's a science called ilm al-jarh wa ta'deel, which basically deals with or ilm al-rijal. It basically has to deal with like who are these people and whether they're reliable or not. And I'm not gonna like inshallah I'm down to do hadith with you guys after, like a beginner introduction to it. But like with like hadith scholars, right? Because it's hadith, bro. This is the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? So if, like it has very big importance because like we use it for worship, we use it for deen, we use it to take out rulings. So they were very strict with this. So one of the like for example, like when they would talk about these people in the chain, like sometimes they just slime them out. Like let's say someone is like a liar or something like that, bro. They'd say liar, fasiq, matru, like a bunch of stuff. So that wouldn't be considered backbiting, right? Because it's needed to like know somebody. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or for example, another example of this is like, so we said basically the second one is to know somebody. We said either jarh, like when it has to do with jarh or ta'deel for like hadith and stuff like that, and ilm and who to take knowledge from, etc., etc. Or like, let's say a person's known by that name, right? Like let's say let's say Ayyub was known as like the tall one, or let's say like I was known as like the short one, right? Like that you're allowed to use that because like that there is like no one else knows him by anything other than that, so you're allowed to use that in that specific situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. The third one is like Jason or Ayyub said, I forgot who said it. The person that's
Or can you see like he's like the big one, like he's like fat, for example, like that.
To describe someone without trying to be like mean.
Kind of.
yeah, like if there's like
Like you have the intention that you don't want to try to talk bad about it, you just want to like they're trying to remember.
yeah. If there's like no other way to describe him, that's what it's talking about. Like let's say like there's no other way, like we don't know who that guy is, like we just know him as the big one or something like that.
I don't know.
For example. The third one is عند ذكر الفاسق, like the person that's exposing their sin, right? If exposing, right? So for example, let's say someone's going around and he's exposing sin. Like we said, posting on your story can be considered exposing. Let's say let's say someone goes to a concert, for example, and they're posting about it on their story. Like, look at me, look what I'm doing, etc., etc., etc. That's considered exposing your sin. So when I talk about that specific person in that specific sin that he exposed, that's not considered backbiting. But if I talk about anything else that he didn't expose, then that's considered backbiting. Okay? So that's the third one. The fourth one, let's see what he says here. رابعها عند الاستغاثة والاستعانة على تغيير المنكر ضد الظالم عن ظلم. So the fourth one is, for example, let's say someone's doing something bad. Someone's doing something bad, and you go to someone that can help him to not do that bad, and you have to mention his name and what he's doing. So that wouldn't be considered backbiting. That's the fourth one. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's you guys see how that's different from the first one. The first one that we mentioned is like me going to like the officers or someone that has the ability to like do something, like for example, because something's gonna happen, right? Like I have to go and I have to tell someone authority, right? Something's gonna happen, whatever. I need to be safe, etc., etc. Like going to the authorities, all that stuff. But the fourth one is going to someone that can help that person like not do that thing. I mean, they're kind of related, but they're pretty similar. So an example of the fourth one would be, like, let's say example like my boy's like vaping or whatever, and let's say he's addicted, or like let's say he's drinking and he's addicted, right? I can go to someone that can help him, that I know can help him, because let's say I'm going to some rando that's not going to help him, that's considered backbiting. I'm exposing his sin. Let's say I go to someone that has the ability to help him, then I can mention, right? And I can mention whatever, who, etc., what he's doing, and it wouldn't be considered backbiting. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
The sixth one, and actually before the sixth one, you can actually, we have to do the fifth one, but you can actually, I want to mention that you can actually, بلاش. Can I mention this? تعريف بشخص تعليلا أو ترجيحا. Sorry. The fifth one is you're going to, let's say, like the mufti, someone with knowledge or whatever. Let's say, for example, you're going to like someone with knowledge and you're like asking for help, or like you need to know the ruling on a specific thing. If there's no way that you can't, like, let's say like this situation, you have to mention like someone's name and what they did, like let's say like someone that's involved in the situation or whatever, then there the backbiting is allowed. Okay?
Okay.
I think the lights turned off on me. Hold up. Okay. All right, so that's the fifth one. And the sixth one, I think you guys will find this one interesting. The sixth one is for example, he says here, عند التحذير من مصاهرة أو شرك أو مجامرة. The sixth one is someone comes to ask you about a specific individual, but it's for something like important, such as marriage. Like let's say someone comes and asks me, like let's say someone's trying to get married to my boy, and they come and ask me about my boy, right? And they ask me, okay, they ask me questions about him. Here I cannot lie. Like I have to slam out my boy, unfortunately, because you can't lie in this situation. You can't lie in this situation.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So you're allowed to backbite here because you have to, right? Because like someone's going into this whatever contract with this person, etc. You have to tell the truth.
Why you don't want to set them up?
Huh?
Why you're not trying to set the person up?
Exactly. You're not trying to set the person up, so you have to, right? And that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ actually did this, right? When his daughter was trying to get married, like he mentioned two like sahabas, and he said like this person's this person's that. I recommend you marry this person instead, right? So here he's backbiting, for example, like not actually backbiting because it's one of the you're allowed to hear, right? But he has to do it, right? Because it has to deal with like contract, etc., all that important things.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So those are just some of those are the six that they mentioned, like the exceptions for ghiba. But we said like the majority of the time it's what? Majority of the time it's what? Yeah, it's haram, right? I'm pretty sure it's considered a major sin too. So ghiba is also considered one of the major sins. And we talked about I'm pretty sure we talked about this. Like let's say I backbit someone, how do I repent from that? Because like we said, it's like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives you, but he leaves it for between the servant and the servant, right? We talked about it, for example, like let's say he's not there anymore, like there's things you do, right? We talked about this, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, good. What's the next thing he mentions after ghiba?
After ghiba, it's one namima too.
Namima. Namima is basically نقل الكلام للآخر على جهة الإفساد. Basically like taking people's speech, right? Like let's say I'll give you guys an example, right? Let's say for example, it's basically نقل الكلام بين الناس. It's like taking speech like from person to person, like to cause like problems. Like let's say for example, Ayub. This is Jason this time. Let's say Jason. Like let's say we're just talking. He's like, yo, this guy Ayub, like he's not good at footy, right? For example. And then I go to Ayub. I'm like, yo, you know what Jason said about you? He said you're not good at footy. So you guys see what I mean? That's what namima is. Basically instigating. Yeah, literally. Basically instigating. And see the opposite of what we mentioned. So imagine like this, like to strengthen the relationship and like make sure like two heads are like closer to each other, you're allowed to lie, right? In specific circumstances, like we mentioned. Namima is really like the opposite. It's like you're going between two people to like cause problems. Literally instigating. So namima. So that's also haram. So let's say some scholars mention like some things, what to do with like an instigator, right? Or like someone that does namima, what to do with him. The first thing, do not believe him, right? Just like ignore what he's saying basically. Because in the Quran, what does it say? Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu in ja'akum fasiqun binaba'in. Who knows the rest?
No.
بنبأ فتبينوا أن تصيبوا قوما بجهالة فتصبحوا ما فعلتم نادمين. Yeah. Like if someone like questionable, bro, like you know this person does this type of stuff, like instigates, bad rep. He comes to you and he says something, bro, don't like إذا جاءكم فاسق بنبأ فتبينوا أن تصيبوا قوما بجهالة فتصبحوا ما فعلتم نادمين. Go based off his false thing, you might do something that you regret. So don't believe him. That's the first thing. The second thing is you tell him like, yo, stop doing this, bro. Like what's wrong with you? تنهى على ذلك. You tell him, yo, stop doing this. The third one, is you hate him for the sake of Allah, right? Because we mentioned like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like namam, right? You just like because what he's doing, he's like an instigator. I don't think I've ever met like an instigator in my life. I don't think I've ever met one yet. Have you guys met one yet? Or no?
Okay. What do you mean instigator?
Like this dude's whole personality is like going to this guy saying this guy said something about you. This, yeah.
I hope I don't find one either.
Huh?
I hope I don't find one either.
Wallah, bro. Like those guys are like weirds, but okay, good. So what were the three? What were the three that we just mentioned right now? In English, you guys. What? First one was?
Slander.
No, before that we mentioned something before that. Lying.
Slander.
Mm-hmm.
And like telling someone like what you said to cause problems.
Yeah. Translation says carrying tales, right? So what's the next one? What's the next one after that? Al-Kibr. What does it translate as that? Translate it as?
Show off.
Yeah.
Be proud.
Be proud.
Oh, like, wait, isn't it like a different form of like kibir?
It probably has it probably has like some linguistic, because kebbir means like kebbir.
Be arrogant, right?
Kebbir versus kibr. It probably has like a similar, yeah, it definitely does. But al-kibr is basically you see yourself above heads, basically.
Yeah.
Right? أن يرى الإنسان نفسه فوق الناس فيزدري الخلق ويرفض الحق وعقابه من السيء. No. So yeah, it's basically you see yourself like above people, and like you yeah. So that's why in the Quran Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says كذلك يطبع الله على كل قلب متكبر جبار. Right? So it's in the Quran as well. It's mentioned. So we said that kibr is you basically see people as lower than you, and like you think you're basically like the stuff, like you're overly. Kibr is basically just arrogance. You think you're like the stuff basically, and like when the truth comes to you, you reject it. Right? That's why, example in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُ اتَّقِ اللَّهَ أَخَذَتْهُ الْعِزَّةُ بِالْإِثْمِ فَحَسْبُهُ جَهَنَّمْ وَلَبِئْسَ الْمِهَادُ. And so I'm pretty sure there's a hadith. Actually, yes. So, because some people confuse kibr. Like, okay, if I go out with like my nice clothes, my nice car, is that considered arrogance?
Nah.
No, and it's actually meant to be. Huh?
Yeah.
Right? It's considered arrogance.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it actually happened to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A man came to him, and he basically like said, like I like my clothes to look nice, right, and my shoes to look nice, and like based off that we can say like other stuff like okay, my car, my house, etc. etc. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Inna Allah jamilun yuhibbul jamal," right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beautiful and He loves beauty. That's not considered arrogance, right? ولكن الكبر, arrogance is like rejecting the truth. And there's other stuff mentioned in the hadith. If you want to pull it up. Pull it up. Search a hadith of what is arrogance.
Rejecting the truth and belittling people.
Exactly. That's what arrogance is. Rejecting the truth, like we said, and belittling people. Like you see yourself as above like people.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's al-kibr. Arrogance. What's the next one? Al-ujub. Al-ujub, sorry. Al-ujub, no, in your manuscripts does it have a dhamma? No, al-ujub, yeah. It has that, no, ujub. Like, ayn, dhamma, jim, sukun, like, ba dhamma or ba sukun, whatever. So, what number is this? So we have al-kadhib, al-ghiba, al-namima, al-kibr, and now al-ujub. Al-ujub is related to al-kibr, right? But it's basically like feeling oneself, right? And like you basically like think, oh, I have all of this because of me, and like you forget about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's basically like glazing oneself like OD. What does the translation say? Be proud. Like being like, there's a difference between being proud. Okay, I'm proud I did this thing, alhamdulillah, versus like I'm the stuff, right? That's what al-ujb means. Like you're like in awe of yourself, basically.
Alright, that's actually OD.
I'm being so serious.
Awe of yourself.
Literally, you're in awe of yourself. That's literally what it means. So obviously that's not allowed, right? It's haram. Muhim, like usually like a lot of the stuff, like the deep explanations of this book in this part, they'll go like, okay, for example, al-ujb, what is it? The punishments of it, the cure of it, right? If this introduction was our main focus, we'd do that. But like we said, we're just trying to get to the fiqh part, so we're gonna go kind of quickly over this stuff. Okay? So we mentioned al-kadhib, al-ghiba, al-namima, al-kibr, wal-ujb. What's next? Al-riya. Perfect. So al-riya is also from the signs of hypocrisy. And do you guys know what riya is? By the way,
Showing off.
basically showing off, doing something for the sake of people, right? And يعمل العمل ليراه الناس, basically doing something to see people. Like, okay, let's say I see some ammu, right, or something like that, and like I usually don't do this, but just to like show him that like, oh, like I'm him alone, barik, whatever, huh?
Like to show off your pies. So
Yeah,
you extra, like,
exactly.
pray more.
Or let's say like you see like a girl passing by and you start, you know, remember how we mentioned the headlock guy? Convert the headlock guy with something Islamic. Like let's say instead of putting you in a headlock, he does something else. Like let's say he starts like reciting a Quran.
Last night, bro. Oh my god.
Literally, right?
I was praying all night.
So just do that, convert that. That's like what riya is, right? Doing something for people to like see you, basically. And we know that because of riya, the first 3 people that are going to be put into Jahannam are because they were doing riya, right? It's the reciter of the Quran, the person that died in the sake of Allah, but obviously he died for the sake of people, so they can say, look at this guy, he died in the sake of Allah. What's the third one? I think the third one is a alim, a scholar. So, search it up, right? It's a scholar, right?
Yeah, like the one that memorizes Quran.
No, I said the first one was the Quran. Second one, well, it's not in any particular order. I forget the order, but it's the Quran reciter, the guy that died, the person, the martyr, and
Donates as well.
the third one is the person that gives charity. Yeah, okay. So those all, bro, like, they did all this action, but why are they going to Jahannam? Because of riya, and riya is actually minor shirk, as you guys know. Right, you guys know this, right?
Yeah.
Right, because of the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he says, "Inni akhwafa ma akhafu alaykum الشرك الأصغر." قالوا وما الشرك الأصغر يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم؟ قال الرياء. يقول الله عز وجل لهم يوم القيامة إذا جزي الناس بأعمالهم اذهبوا إلى الذين كنتم تراءون في الدنيا فانظروا هل تجدون عندهم جزاء. الله أكبر. So basically what this hadith is saying is, the Prophet said, I fear for you like shirk asghar, which is riya. So these people who did like this specific action, from the outside it looks good, when it's the day of judgment and they're like, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where's my reward? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to tell them, go to those heads that you were doing it for and see if you find a reward with them, basically. Okay? Yeah. So that's riya. And also, like, I wish we could talk more about riya, like if we had like the time to talk about it. But like, riya is also one of the traps of shaitan. Like, let's say for example, like let's say a Muslim's locked in genuinely for himself, right? Like let's say he has the opportunity to like help people.
I have a question. What's the sin of accusing someone of riya?
I mean, that's definitely it would probably fall under slandering or like, what do you mean, what's the sin? Like, is it haram? Oh, actually, it's good that you mentioned this. There is I forgot whether it's an athar or a hadith. There's an athar, I'm pretty sure it's an athar of a sahabi. I'm pretty sure you can search it up, an athar of a sahabi radiallahu anh, where he saw someone praying and then he kind of accused him of riya in a way. He's like, oh, this guy's not feeling anything. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala basically like banned the guy that was like accusing of that person from feeling anything. Huh? Like he blocked him from feeling anything in prayer for like a certain amount. Search it up. I just forget who it was. Search up athar of person, sahabi, like being blocked from feeling anything for prayer because of accusing someone of riya or something like that. Something should pop up. Okay, look. So basically what happened is, so it's not from a sahabi or anything. It's from muhim. Who's this guy? Makhul. I don't see who he is. Makhul Shami. He's a alim. أبو عبد الله الشامي محدث فقيه حافظ عالم أهل الشام من كبار أعلام التابعين. Okay, yeah, so he's a tabi'in. So it is probably an athar. Or it's a hadith, depending on... I don't know if it's authentic or not. Muhim, you guys do your own research. Because something that's linked to a tabi'i can be considered a hadith according to some muhim khilaf bayn ahli ilm, difference of opinion what's considered hadith or not. We'll get to this when we talk about hadith. But he basically says here, رأيت رجلا يبكي في صلاته. So he basically says here that I saw someone crying in prayer. Right? I saw someone crying in prayer. So I basically I said, yo, that guy's doing riyat basically. Right? So he said here that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not allow me to cry basically for a year, to not feel anything in prayer. Because of the accusation that I did.
I heard of this.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Right, so does that answer your question, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay. Where was I before? What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I was saying how shaitan, he likes to sometimes use the fear of riyah to stop a Muslim from doing it. Let's say an opportunity pops up for a Muslim where he's able to teach people, help people, and he's needed in the community. Shaitan will come and tell this person, oh, you're doing riyah, this, so he can stop doing that good.
Yeah.
Right? So with riyah, bro, sometimes...
There's hadith that says not hadith, some narration, I'll just do it anyways.
Probably from a alim, because that's what they say. Let's say I'm praying, right? And let's say let's say I'm by myself and I'm reciting the Quran my best voice, whatever. This probably happens to a lot of us, right? Let's say someone pops in. What do you usually do?
What do you mean?
I'm praying, trying to recite as beautiful as possible. Someone pops in. Usually a lot of people, they try to
lower your voice.
Correct you.
No, they try to not recite as good, to not fall under the yet. Right? But that's just shaitan playing with you. You should stay how you were before the people came in. Right? So this is what I mean. Wallah, with the riyah, it's a constant battle. So as long as you just keep renewing your intentions, making dua, right? You should be fine.
I don't know. I feel I heard something as long as you're aware, you're aware of it, then you're probably good from it.
It's one of the signs. If you're aware of something, then if you're having fear of riyah, then you're probably doing good.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. So that's الكذب الغيبة نميمة pull up the book again. نميمة الكبر العجب الرياء. 6, right?
Yeah.
What's the 7th one? الحسد, right?
No, sum'a.
Oh, sum'a. Sum'a is very similar. Sum'a is basically someone does something to hear people's praise. It's kind of the same thing, right? Let's say, for example, someone leads the prayer just so he can hear people say, oh, his voice is beautiful.
Wait, what does deaf mean?
Death?
How do you say deaf? Deaf.
Oh, deaf?
Yeah.
In the Quran it says صم.
So it's different.
If you search it out, you can search it in Surah Al-Baqarah. صم بكم عمي فهم لا يسمعون. So sum'a is similar, right? So it's for example, look at this person, he's leading prayer just to hear people praise him. Look at his voice, or he's seeking knowledge just for people to praise him. Look at this person, he's so knowledgeable on barik. Right? So it's just important to always renew your attention, because I forgot, one of the ulama, one of the scholars, when he first went out to seek knowledge, that was his intention, but he changed it. So as long as you keep renewing your intention.
Show off?
But then after he changed it. So you just have to always when you're insistent, especially you guys, now that you guys are seeking knowledge, you guys will see like a lot of people when they first start seeking knowledge, they think like I'm
literally like true scholars.
like I'm Shaykh al-Islam basically. Like I'm the Shaykh al-Islam of our time. Right?
The TikTok scholars, bro.
And they look down upon the people, stuff like that. So this is why, for example, this is why like the Maliki scholars and a lot of scholars, they always mention this stuff that has to do with tazkiyah, adab, aqidah before they get into the fiqh part, so you're ready for that knowledge. Because knowledge without manners and all that stuff, it's a karitha. It's just bad. It just causes problems and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's sum'ah. Sum'ah is what? Number, I don't even know. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright. What's the 8th one?
Hasad.
Al-Hasad. What is Al-Hasad? Translated as? Envy. It's basically like, here they say, تألم القلب بما أنعم الله على العباد مع تمني زوال النعمة عنهم. So basically it's like, you see something that someone has. You like in your heart, you want that so bad, but you also want that thing that person has to get removed from them. That's what hasad is. Hasad is not, I'm like, oh, I want that so bad. No, hasad is, oh, I want that so bad, plus I hope that guy, like, I hope it gets removed from that person. That's what hasad is. Okay?
That's so mean, bro.
Wallah. Right? But when it comes to hasad, al-hasad al-mashru', right? Hasad that's allowed, but it's not even hasad technically. It's known as something called al-ghibta. And it's basically, you see something that someone has, and you want it, but you don't want it to be removed from that person. Like, let's say, oh, I'm like, okay, Ayyub's actually like nasty at footy. Like, I hope I can get like him. Without hoping like he becomes trash. Or let's say like, I'm like, yo, I'm on Betik, Jason's like fire wrestler. Like, oh, I wish I could be like him. But without like hoping like, yo, I hope this guy like stops being good. So that's fine.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's actually mentioned in the hadith, or the Prophet Muhammad says, لا حسد إلا على اثنتين رجل آتاه الله الكتاب وقام به آناء الليل ورجل أعطاه الله مالا فهو يتصدق به آناء الليل والنهار. وفي رواية, in another رواية, لا حسد إلا في اثنتين رجل آتاه الله مالا فسلطه على هلكته في الحق ورجل آتاه الله حكمة فهو يقضي بها ويعلمها. Right, basically like he's just talking about like, for example, like let's say someone, good people, and like you wish you can be like them, but you don't wish that stuff is taken away from them. So built upon that hadith, you can do it for all the other stuff. Basically, what's allowed is something known as al-ghibta, and it's basically you wish for you to have that thing without wishing for that thing to be removed from that person. Because if you wish for that thing plus that thing to be removed from that person, it becomes what?
Hasad.
Hasad. Good. That's I think 8, right? What's the next thing?
After hasad, it is bughdu.
Al-bughd. كراهية في القلب للشيء. Genuinely, literally the literal translation of like hate in your heart. I think that's generally the literal translation. كراهية في القلب للشيء. Yeah, literally hate in your heart for something or someone. You guys remember the Mr. Krabs? That's we remember that, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about how like in some specific situations hating in your heart is needed, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, good. Right, because there's like obviously
Like hating for the sake of Allah and loving.
yeah, without al-bala, right? But like for example, like let's say like Ayyub just sitting there, mad innocent, he didn't do nothing. I'm like, yo,
Dang.
like,
Okay, I guess.
I'm like, yo, Ayyub, like, you feel me? I look at him with that look,
Yeah, maybe. No bad friend.
right? So that's not allowed. What does he say after that? After al-bughd?
After that,
What's al-bughd translated as, by the way, in English? I'm just curious.
to hate.
Yeah, to hate, basically. Hate in your heart. Alright, what's after al-bughd?
رؤية الفضل على الغير.
Yeah, رؤية الفضل على الغير. it's kind of similar to like arrogance and all that stuff. It's basically
Yeah.
what's the translation that they say?
It's to see yourself above others, pretty much.
Yeah, basically it's pretty much it. See yourself above others. It's from one of the types of al-ujb, like being in awe of yourself that we mentioned before. And we said that. Do you guys remember what we mentioned? This like when for example, let's say like an author mentions something and he mentions something like which is basically the same thing but in like more detail. It's called something atf tafsir. It's basically like you're using you're bringing it after just to like make more clear and stuff. So that's what he's doing here. What does he say after that?
He says, "Oh my god, my computer's like frozen." والهمز واللمز والعبث والسخرية.
Okay, al-hamz wal-lams. So al-hamz is basically like عيب الناس من خلفهم, right? Al-hamz is basically like finding faults, insulting, like all that stuff, like when they're not there. It's basically like backbiting. And then al-lams is basically like doing it when they're there, like I'm saying it, like I'm standing on business and saying it right in front of his face.
Yeah.
And some scholars said it's the opposite, meaning hems means that, and lems means that, right? But that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what did he say after?
والعبث والسخرية.
So al-abath basically means al-lahu wal-la'ib. What do they translate al-abath as?
The mock or ridicule.
Really? No, al-abath is... No. See, that's what I'm saying. The translation sometimes are weak. Al-abath means al-lahu wal-la'ib, meaning like, basically like play and amusement, right? And there's different types. Right? Like for example, there's like what's allowed, like playing footy, all this stuff. Like it really all just depends on like what it is that you're doing and like the amount you're doing. Like okay, is going on social media, like let's say to like, is going on social media like for a little bit, like to do things that can benefit the ummah, good or bad?
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. But for example, let's say like I'm just there for like so long, I'm just scrolling, doom, little, yo, have you? I actually managed, like I never thought I'd see this, but I've seen like genuine like doom scroll addicts, like goy slop warriors, like in person. Like you talk to them, they're just like,
So invested.
well, like they don't hear you. So that's for example, lahu wala'ib. It's like playing amusement that just wastes your time. It has no benefit. Obviously, this doesn't mean you can't enjoy yourself, right? But like at a specific level, right? You're not just genuinely just.
Not OD.
Yeah, literally, exactly. Everything is fine. Like, yeah, basically just don't OD. Okay. Okay. What does he say? What does he say? What does he say after that?
It's the end, but there's a next like paragraph. If you want me to say that.
Oh yeah. Okay. AU. Where's AU?
He left the call. I don't know what happened to him.
All right. Who wants to read it? Joseph or Jason?
Jason is deafened.
Oh.
For some reason. I don't think it was here this entire time.
Oh.
Probably AFK.
Joseph. Or Joseph can't read, right?
Yeah, but he can read the English.
I bet. Jason, you read the Arabic. He reads the English. Go.
والزنا والنظر
إلى الأجنبية.
أجنبية والتلذذ بكلامها وأكل أموال الناس بغير طيب نفس
طيب نفس
والأكل بالشفاعة
أو
بالدين وتأخير الصلاة عن أوقاتها.
Good. What's the translation for that?
You there, Joy?
Yeah. It's unlawful to commit fornication or to look with lust at a woman to whom you are not married or take pleasure in her words, which is consume the property of people without their consent, or to receive money in exchange for intersection, or because of that, or to delay the prayer until its time has passed.
Good. So we said as zina, right? And zina, like actual zina, which is like unlawful intercourse, and anything that's close, right? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا, right? There's like zina with the one that has the head on it, the punishment, like the punishment in the dunya, whatever, like the famous one. And there is like minor forms of zina, different forms of zina of the eyes, zina, right? You guys know this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So there's like different lesser forms of zina. Like for example, if I look at a woman in a haram way, that's considered zina. If I watch something that I'm not supposed to be watching, that's considered zina. It's not the same zina, but it's like a lesser zina. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا, don't even get close to zina. And the more you live, the more you'll see, right? Why like a lot of stuff is haram, right? While having a girlfriend's haram, while having a boyfriend's haram, being in this relationship's haram. Because when you're in these type of relationships, and it's not like, let's say it's not marriage, for example, where like you can't just leave out of it. You have like, because marriage, you have responsibilities. Here you have no responsibilities. You can do whatever, whenever. No one's holding you responsible. So one step leads to the next. First, it starts just talking. Then it becomes like a situationship or whatever. Talking.
A talking stage?
Something like that, muhim. So it starts with whatever, talking to this person, then it becomes a talking stage or situationship or whatever, then they start going out, then they end up by themselves in the room, and then from there it's gone. Illa man rahima rabbi. Right? So sorry, so that's aqrabu zina. Don't even get yourself in that situation to begin with. Because I'm telling you, if a man and a woman are left by themselves, who's the third person?
Shaitan.
Bro, I'm saying like it's hard to not do anything in that situation, right? So that's why you don't get yourself in that situation to begin with. It's hard, but that's how it should be. So that's why he said az-zina. And then he said وَالنَّظَرُ إِلَى الْأَجْنَبِيَّةِ, right? We talked about that, looking at haram, right? We put it in like looking at haram, looking at what's not supposed to be seen. And then he said وَالتَّلَذُّذُ بِكَلَامِهَا. So he then says وَالتَّلَذُّذُ بِكَلَامِهَا. Like I said, I'm not gonna lie, some heads be freaky. They be like they be getting pleasure like from like a woman's voice, like
Oh, no.
like even on the phone, for example, and they're like, feel me, like they're like, yeah, that's not allowed either. He then says وَأَكْلُ أَمْوَالِ النَّاسِ, right? Basically وَأَكْلُ أَمْوَالِ النَّاسِ بِغَيْرِ طِيبِ نَفْسٍ. That's right. So the translation says, it basically says here to consume the property of the people without their consent. Like let's say, like for example, someone's working for me, I don't give him money, or let's say for example, someone sells me something and he's saying it's for $10 and I only give him $6, right? That's the type of stuff that's included. Anyways, so yeah, those are some examples, like we said. Basically, just like not giving people their money back. The translation sums it up pretty well. Consuming the property of people without their consent.
Yeah.
Then he says here with aklu bi-shafa'a. It's basically like you're using your authority to make someone do something, and then like you basically just like take the benefits and he doesn't get anything, basically. So that's al-aklu bi-shafa'a. And then he says here al-aklu bi-shafa'ati. What does he say after? Yeah, والأكل بالدين. Meaning he uses the religion to like take money from people, right? He uses the religion to take money from people. For example, let's say for example, you guys know the chuf chuf guy?
The whole guy?
You've never seen that guy on TikTok? Chuf chuf chuf.
Oh, the coin, like that, not coin, the box outside?
Something like that. I don't know him. Even though that's not part of the deen, but like let's say for example, you're charging people to enter to the masjid, Like you say, if you want to enter this masjid, you have to pay me money. That's different. Like that's different from example like asking people to give money because we need this for the masjid, etc. That's fine, right? Or like let's say you're like a teacher in an Islamic school and you need people to pay to keep it running, etc., etc. That's fine. But like it's like using people, and the like using the deen to take money out of people, basically, kind of just scam them. Yeah, pretty simple. And then he says after, what did he say after? Yeah, basically delaying the prayer. We'll talk about this inshallah when we get to the chapter of prayer. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. What's after? فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. Good. الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون. سورة الماعون. Good. So that's just delaying the prayer. And then he said, go ahead, Jason, read it. What did he say after? I think that's the final sentence too, right?
ولا يحل له صحبة فاسق ولا مجالسته لغير
ضرورة. And we talked about this when we talked about the fasiq, who he is, enjoining good, forbidding evil, right? Right? You guys remember when we talked about this?
Yeah.
Right, so you shouldn't be like...
You're like boycotting a fasiq.
Yeah, we talked all about that, right? You're not allowed, like, it's better not to sit with him when he's doing that type of stuff unless you can, right? We talked a lot about this.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what did he say after? I think it's the last sentence of this chapter. Go down.
Oh, there's a lot more.
Really? Yeah, okay. I think we're almost done. We'll go through this part quick. So there's a hadith of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ when it comes to good companionships, right? We already know the hadith where he says, like, al-mar'u ala dini khalilih, right? A person's upon the religion of his friends. And there's also another hadith where the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he gives a parable, he gives an example of good and bad company. And he compares it to the seller of musk and a blacksmith. He says the seller of musk, either best case scenario, he'll give you perfume, right? Or worst case scenario, you'll have a good smell. As for the blacksmith,
You're walking out the...
yeah, smelling good. As for the blacksmith, worst case scenario, he'll burn your clothes. Best case scenario, you'll have a bad smell on you. And this is hadith muttafaq muttafaqun alayh. It's in both Bukhari and Muslim. Right? So that's just an example of your companionship. Okay? And then what does he say after that?
So you want me to read from here, right?
Yeah.
You guys didn't start anything? Okay.
Yeah.
ولا يطلب رضا المخلوقين بسخط الخالق قال الله سبحانه وتعالى والله ورسوله أحق أن يرضوه إن كانوا مؤمنين. الصلاة والسلام لا طاعة
لمخلوق
في معصية الخالق.
Yeah, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, it's in Surah Tawbah, يحلفون بالله لكم ليرضوكم والله ورسوله أحق أن يرضوه إن كانوا مؤمنين. In the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, لا طاعة لمخلوق في معصية الخالق. Right? So he basically says, don't please the creation in expense of the creator, basically. Pretty simple.
That hits for Allah.
I'm hip. I think we have just one more paragraph left. Okay. This paragraph I'll do is so we can finish because I think we've been here like for a minute. So he says here, ولا يحل له أن يفعل فعلا حتى يعلم حكم الله فيه ويسأل العلماء ويقتدي بالمتبعين لسنة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم الذين يدلون على طاعة الله ويحذرون من اتباع الشيطان ولا يرضى لنفسه. Okay, that's good. So he says here, the translation says, what does it say?
Do not seek to... It is not lawful to do an action until you know what Allah just meant about it is. You should ask the people of knowledge and imitate those who follow the Sunnah of Muhammad Sallallahu those who direct people to how to obey Allah and warn people against following shaitan.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, we talked about Salah and Al-Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar. Like, you need to learn your deen so you can know what to do, when to do, how to do it. And if you don't know it currently, what do? فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask the people of knowledge.
Joey said be right back.
That's fine. It'll be posted because I want to.
I could just let him know. I could just tell him after.
Yeah, because we want to finish before Maghrib. So then he says, وَيَسْأَلُوا الْعُلَمَاء, right? If you can't, like, ask the people, no, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ, and follow the people that follow the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم, الذين يدلون على طاعة الله ويحذرون من اتباع الشيطان. الذين يدلون على طاعة الله, basically they encourage people to follow, they direct people to how to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and warn people against following the shaitan. And then he said, وَلَا يَرْضَى لِنَفْسِهِ مَا رَضِيَهُ الْمُفْلِسُونَ الَّذِينَ ضَاعَتْ أَعْمَارُهُم فِي غَيْرِ طَاعَةِ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى فَيَا حَسْرَتَهُمْ وَيَا طُولَ بُكَائِهِمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. What's the translation?
A Muslim should not be content to allow himself to do what spiritually bankrupt are content to do. Those who waste their lives obeying other than Allah Almighty will regret they will suffer. What regret will they suffer? How long they will weep on the day of resurrection.
Right? He should not be content to to allow himself to do what, like, basically the people that unfortunately, like, they are spiritually bankrupt, they were not on the right path, who wasted their lives obeying other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? They wasted their lives obeying other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he says here, فَيَا حَسْرَتَهُمْ وَيَا طُولَ بُكَائِهِمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Like, what regret they will suffer and how long they will weep on the day of resurrection. And this, we can bring this and use it for our youth. Alhamdulillah, we're all young. We only have a certain amount of time before we have to start getting busy. Job, family, this, it. So this is the best time to seek knowledge, lock in for yourself, chase goals, huh?
Yeah, I'm still in our youth, yeah.
What is it?
Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm just agreeing.
Like, I didn't hear what you said. But yeah, right? So this is the time to... Yeah, this is the time to lock in projects, focus on yourself for stuff not only in deen, also outside of deen. But if you're going around right now, like, bro, this golden time, this peak time, and you're wasting it on, like, bro, like, thirst strapping, TikTok, like, dances, like, bro, what are we doing, dude? Right? Gotta lock in. So that's what he says here. And then he finishes off by saying what?
نسأل الله أن يوفقنا لاتباع سنة نبينا وشفيعنا وسيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. So he says here,
نسأل الله أن يوفقنا لاتباع سنة نبينا صلى الله عليه وسلم وشفيعنا وسيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Right? We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to what's the translation? We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us success in following the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our intercessor and our master Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that is the end of this introduction, which actually it's like a very deep introduction. And finally, inshallah, starting next week, we can finally get into the whole point of this, which is fiqh, right? So we're gonna start next week, inshallah, with Babu Tahara, inshallah. Like, we'll define what Tahara is and everything. Tahara, wudu, prayer, all that stuff, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Any questions?
Nah, I'm gonna screenshot this, just post in the chat, bro.
What, this last part?
This last page. Yeah, this last page.
Right, I'm hip, yo. Allah Mubarak, the scholars, when they write, genuinely like that fire thing.
Yeah, straight up.
Alright, if that's it, then سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.